You did everything you were supposed to do. You got the degree, you landed the career, and you're making what seems like pretty good money. But then, at the end of the month, you're just staring at your bank account thinking, where did it all go? If it feels like you're running on a treadmill that's somehow tilted backwards, listen, you're not failing. The game itself is rigged. So today, we're going to tear apart those old rules for financial success and lay out a whole new playbook for winning the real game of money.
This is the big question, isn't it? It's that nagging feeling, that cognitive dissonance. You followed the script to the letter, but the prosperity that was promised just never showed up. And I'm here to tell you, you are not imagining it. So let's break down exactly why this is happening.
Okay, first things first, we have to understand the playbook we were all handed. It was simple, it was straightforward, and you know what? For a whole generation, it actually worked pretty well. It was sold to us as this guaranteed path to a stable, comfortable, middle-class life. Does this look familiar? Step 1, get the degree, because it's an investment in your future, right? Step 2, use that shiny degree to land a good career. Step 3, leverage that career to buy a house, the cornerstone of the American dream. And then voila, financial security. This was the blueprint, the formula drilled into our heads since we were kids. The problem, every single step of this script has been systematically blown up. And this feeling, it's perfectly captured by someone we're going to call Alex. Imagine this. She's 24, she's got a marketing degree, a $52,000 a year job, and she's sitting in her car in a parking lot literally trying to figure out if she can afford groceries this week. She did everything right, but instead of security, she's just slowly drowning in this sea of financial obligations while everyone around her pretends this is just normal. So how in the world did we get here? Let's deconstruct this old script piece by painful piece and expose the hidden financial traps that have turned this supposed path to prosperity into a total minefield. That first step, get the degree, now comes with a ball and chain attached. And as you can see, it is a heavy one. Total student loan debt in the US has absolutely ballooned to a staggering $1.75 trillion. Think about that. We were told it was good debt, an investment. But for millions, it's the very thing that's making it impossible to ever get ahead. Okay, now look at this, because what's really terrifying is just how fast that good salary completely vanishes. After taxes, Alex is bringing home about $3,400. Boom. Her student loan payment immediately eats over $700 of that. Then add in rent, a car payment to get to the job that pays for the car, and just basic living costs. And she's left with $470 a month. For everything else, savings, an emergency, trying to have any kind of a social life, it's all supposed to come from that tiny little sliver. The promised salary boost is gone before it even has a chance to hit her bank account. So what about that next big step in the script? Buying the house? Well, back in 1970, the average home cost about 2.6 times what a family made in a year. Totally doable. By 2025, that ratio has exploded to 7. 7. You now need 7 years of your entire household income just to match the price of an average home. The math just doesn't add up anymore. And this leads to this really cruel paradox. You think 2 incomes would make you wealthier, right? Instead, it's created what researcher Elizabeth Warren famously called the 2-income trap. And here's how the trap works. As 2-income households became normal, the market just responded. Housing prices, childcare costs, healthcare, it all inflated to eat up both of those paychecks. So instead of getting ahead, families are now just barely treading water, which makes them twice as vulnerable. If one person loses their job, there is zero backup. It's a house of cards. And while our incomes are getting squeezed from every direction, these new clever traps have popped up. Services like buy now, pay later seem like such a harmless convenience, right? But the psychology behind it is so insidious. It tricks your brain into thinking a $200 purchase is really only $50. And the result? Nearly half of the people who use them have missed payments, turning that interest-free convenience into a fee-generating machine that just encourages us to overspend on everything from new gadgets to takeout burritos. And finally, there's this unspoken cost, the friendship tax. You know what I'm talking about. The destination weddings, the bachelor parties in Vegas, the birthday dinners where the bill gets split evenly even though you just had a side salad. These social obligations have turned into a massive, hidden expense. It's basically a subscription service for friendship that quietly drains your ability to save any money. Okay, so if the old script is totally broken, what's the new one? Well, to understand that, we have to just throw the old script in the trash and look at the actual, unchangeable physics of how money really grows. This right here is the crucial point that trips everybody up. When you first start saving and investing, it feels impossibly slow. Your account barely moves. You feel like you're sacrificing for absolutely nothing. This is not a sign that you are failing. It's the necessary first phase of building momentum. Think of it like trying to push a giant boulder up a hill. Those first few feet are absolute agony. And this chart just illustrates it perfectly. In the early years, almost all of your account's growth, we're talking like 80% of it, comes from you just brute forcing it, shoveling money into the account month after month. The market's growth is happening, sure, but on such a small amount of money, it's almost invisible. You are doing all of the heavy lifting. But if you can just stick with it, the entire equation completely flips on its head. After a decade or so, your contributions suddenly become the smaller part of the growth. The market, that incredible power of compounding, it does the heavy lifting for you. Your money starts making more money than you do. This is the moment that Boulder finally crests the hill and starts rolling all on its own. Just look at this timeline. That first $100,000 is called the grind for a reason. It can take 8 long years. But then the momentum kicks in. The next 100,000, that only takes 5 years. And then the next 200,000, just 4. The time it takes to build wealth shrinks dramatically as that snowball gets bigger and bigger. The whole goal is to survive the grind long enough to get to the good part, the momentum phase. All right, so knowing all of this, how do we actually win this new game of money? It requires a completely different playbook, one that's focused not on chasing status symbols, but on building patient, automated systems. First, you have to defeat the number one enemy of that snowball effect, lifestyle inflation. The moment you get a raise or start making more money, the temptation is to upgrade everything. The nicer apartment, the new car, the fancy dinners. But all that does is reset your savings potential right back to zero. It's exactly how people making solid 6-figure incomes can still be living paycheck to paycheck. So the new rules are actually pretty simple, but they are incredibly powerful. Rule number 1, automate everything. Make your savings and investments happen automatically, the very day you get paid. This takes willpower completely out of the equation. Rule number 2, if you're in a dual income household, do everything you can to live on one income. This is the ultimate wealth building hack. It's like putting your financial goals on hyperdrive. And rule number 3, ignore the noise. Be consistent, be patient, and survive the boring part. The math will work if you just get out of its way. So here it is, the whole thing side by side. The old script told you to focus on acquiring status symbols, all financed with more and more debt. The new playbook is about focusing on building automated systems that build wealth for you in the background, all made possible by controlling your costs. It is a fundamental shift from looking rich to actually being wealthy. And, ultimately, this reframes the entire goal. Financial independence isn't about hitting some magic number in a spreadsheet. It's about building a life that's so meaningful and secure that the number itself becomes secondary. Money becomes a tool to build that life, not the goal itself. So here's the bottom line. The old success script is a trap. The real path to wealth isn't fast, it isn't sexy, it isn't glamorous. It's a slow, patient game of physics. The question isn't whether you're smart enough or if you work hard enough. The only question left is this: are you patient enough to win?